Yeah, we're having one more participant. I hope it's Nikolai and Olga.
I saw Nikolai yesterday. This is so amazing to see all of you. I've seen it in the movies.
Yeah,
Nikolai.
we're actually filming this, the meeting.
Okay, good.
Hello, Nikolai, привет.
I have my tea.
It's 5 minutes to midday, right? In the United States, so it's midday.
High noon, as they say in the cowboy movies, the westerns. High noon.
Christopher, I'm a new face in the
Yes.
company. I didn't participate in the movie, but I support you.
Thank you so much. I support all of you. I think, given the times we live in, it's amazing that we see each other. It's wonderful. It's a gift.
Unfortunately, I guess it's for us it's an only option we could use to talk freely and to discuss everything which we would like to discuss. This is the only connection we could afford right now.
I can say that we just watched a bit of your documentary about San Joaquin movie before we just started the meeting. So it was really an interesting thing to watch. Yes, about San Joaquin and the river and this Bureau of Reclamation or something completely unknown to me before, but
It's quite a story.
Back then, the river was more than 350 miles long. At one time, the San Joaquin carried a rich trade of steamboat commerce that connected the valley to cities as far north as San Francisco. Every spring and fall, the river was alive with migrating salmon, the largest salmon run in the Central Valley. But for many, the river's greatest contribution has been the creation of the richest agricultural region the world has ever known, California's Central Valley. In some places, that same San Joaquin River has literally disappeared. Join us as we journey down the river to hear tales of the old San Joaquin.
I got into a lot of trouble because of that movie. Yes, I got into trouble because of the movie. The people that own the dam were not happy. And so they tried to prevent the film from being shown.
They were against of being shot.
Well, yes, which you don't usually think of as the United States of America. I don't. But yes, no, I ran into difficulty, but...
But a lot of you guests.
We're increasing the number of participants.
yeah, I think we're waiting for Oля to connect, right? Yeah, we're filming this from 2 points, as Nikolai requested. The screen and the, like, I don't know how we call it, the front, the front page.
Yeah, I have another camera. I'll show you. There.
Whoa.
And then this is where I'm sitting.
Your camera is much more professional.
And this is where I work. And that's kind of what it looks like outside.
Robot. It looks like a robot. Like as if
The camera looks like a robot.
Christopher, you make films about environmental problems.
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
right?
Yes. The films that I make, almost every film has to be a little bit about the environment. And so they call them environmental films. I call them the human experience of the world around us. So I always want to see, when I see a film, any film, I like to see the background. You know, whether it's a city or it's nature, I like to see where the films are. And in some cases, that's more important than the film.
And the valley grew so fast that people overpumped the groundwater basin and they dried up the springs. Those weren't the days where people understood that there were consequences to that kind of pumping.
Christopher, we did have to translate from Russian into English and English into Russian. Yeah. That's why.
I wish I could speak Russian. I study the Cyrillic alphabet. I have a sheet and I try to learn, and when I go on YouTube, I try to be able to read the titles in Russian. So I'm like a person who hasn't even started school yet. I'm an infant.
Thanks for being awarded National Prize of Emmy.
Yes. So that film was about nuclear weapons and nuclear power. And in 1989, I was part of a group of Americans who traveled to the Soviet Union. And we did a documentary tour to show that film. And so that was my first visit to Russia and to share the film. There was an important message in the film. And so the message was that because in the United States, Russia was always the villain. They were the danger. But in our film, we said, that may look like that, but don't forget that America looks very frightening as well.
3 plutonium triggers a day, 15 a week, 720 bombs a year, many of them hundreds or even thousands of times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Japan. 26,000 hydrogen bombs stockpiled, waiting for the next war. It's clear that the Soviet Union is a terrifying force, but we look frightening as well. Together, we've already produced enough nuclear weapons to destroy all life on the planet. Every human being, every animal, every plant. When will we have enough bombs to be safe from the Russians, or they from us? And when we have enough, who will say stop?
So the two nations were terrifying each other. So the idea was it is not one nation. Russia is not the enemy. We are not the enemy. That was the message of the film.
Christopher, we are having minor technical problems, but still we are here to ask you to tell us a little bit about your work, so your films. It would be very interesting for us.
Well, I started in a very small town. I grew up in a very small town. And so I fell in love with the movies when I saw the old film, The Wizard of Oz. And so The Wizard of Oz, and when it turned into color, I was gone. I just dreamed of that. And so, but I came from such a small town. No one made movies. They did that in New York, they did it in Los Angeles. My town was called Paradise. And so, Paradise, yeah. And so that's where I came from, and I fell in love with movies. And finally, I was able to go to film school. I wanted to make fiction films, narrative films, but it was a documentary film school. And I fell in love with documentary films. And so from there, I worked with different people. I've made films on my own, and but always a little bit of that environmental interest. And so, yes, so starting in 1970, I went to film school, and I've managed to continue making films every so often.
I've just mentioned that we have a bit the same story. Everybody seen the movie like The Wizard of Oz, or we didn't have such a movie in Soviet Union, but we have the same one. Like fiction or science fiction movie, and it was so exciting to see them. And probably after that, we also fell in love in cinema and in movies.
Well, I started watching Elvis Presley movies. That's what they would show, Elvis Presley. And so that was the level of movies. They also showed cartoons. And there was a cartoon that I loved. It was a road runner that kept escaping from a coyote. So that was the coyote is after the road runner. So that's what I saw when I was growing up. And then the European films started to be shown in the United States. So around 1959, 60, but I saw the film La Dolce Vita. And when I saw the film La Dolce Vita, I said, oh, movies can do that too. It's not just Elvis and the Roadrunner. It could be about life. So that was the film that all of a sudden I said, oh, I would love to be able to do that. That was my dream. May I say, I can see the poster behind you of San Francisco. Your picture on the wall. I know that view so well.
This is exactly. Well, the picture the poster was bought 1 year ago exactly. Maybe this day 1 year ago in San Francisco on Pier 39, and we're so happy to get it, and we have it on the wall.
Just as a reminder.
I love that. There was a friend. We started making a movie about the cable cars. And it's one of those that remains to be finished. But I like the story of the cable cars a lot. And so we started that movie. So that's also that not every movie I start or anybody starts gets finished. That one's waiting to be completed. But I love that view.
Well, great, you have a key 9.
To be completed. TV genius in our company, Yuri.
Юра Добров.
Юра Дубровский. Юр, wave your hand. Помажи ручкой, чтобы понимали, о ком речь идет. So this is Yuri. He's a real technical genius, and he has been to the USA at the exhibitions, television equipment.
Wow.
Yuri says that in his view, it's much more difficult to make a documentary film than a feature film, because feature films are made on based on the script and on the work with the actors, and everything is planned and can be rehearsed. On the other hand, when you make a documentary film, it's kind of spontaneous thing. It might be difficult, right?
It's totally unpredicted, and it takes much more efforts and time to react properly and to film it properly. But for Yuri's point of view, it's much more difficult to do that. And he asked, do you agree with that opinion?
Yes, I agree absolutely. I felt that at a certain point, you make a fiction film and there's a script. And so we know what's going to happen, in a way. And it's sort of like a symphony orchestra. But when you make a documentary film, it's like jazz or rock and roll.
Addy has now come to New York to create his first project in his home country of America. For the first time, he will use lasers to project his images.
This is sort of an example of what, for some people, might be an obvious choice, but for me, it's
you don't know what's going to happen. And then you try to make it look as though you knew what was going to happen. But that's exactly right. I can see Yuri is up here. That's exactly, it's just like, oh man. Yeah, the unpredictability and the improvisation, almost like making music together. And one other thing, the small crew. Very few people, so you're close. You're close. And so one of the things I say is that the film crew should never be more people than we are filming.
Intimate sites, like if we look down this way on Ludlow Street, more like a neighborhood feeling where people are living their day-to-day lives. That to me feels much more in keeping with the spirit of the project.
So if we're filming one person, it should be one film crew if we can. What's going to happen next?
Christopher, I guess we definitely have a situation when the number of the cameras much more than the number of the persons.
Yeah, number of people, yeah. At least 2 cameras here in Bulgaria.
And there, yes. Yep. Multiple, and now it looks like a split screen movie,
Yeah.
The company lacks only one member of the crew, which is Shivati.
According to Nikolai.
Able to join our circle of friends. but he sends you warmest greeting.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The reporting. Nikolai met you eight years ago, if I'm right.
What was that?
8 years ago, and your meeting lasted
Yes.
for three hours.
Yes.
But it has formed a very tight connection which lasts until now. And he hopes that after this meeting we will form tight connection which will continue on and on.
I agree.
Continue.
I agree. And I could see when he was filming, this goes back, I could see how good he was. I could see it. And so he has what I would call the touch for documentaries. So that was just great. And yeah, it was wonderful to talk. And it felt like in general, I was meeting people who I would call kindred spirits. They were the same spirit. We shared the same spirit. And so that was one of the things I experienced in Russia. And even the first time in 1989, I felt a closeness.
What difficulties do you face when you make documentaries in the USA? If you face any?
Money. That's the problem. That is the problem. First, you have to. And I'm always curious how people make movies. There's so many movies that are being made, but yes, that. And sometimes I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but you do run into people don't want you to make the movie for one reason or another. They don't want you to make an environmental movie. They don't want you to make a movie about government policies.
By climbing up onto this earthen mound where I am here, I'm at a pretty high vantage point. I'm looking.
So there's opposition. That's very real. And I have run into it. I've encountered it. I think the problems are the same for filmmakers. We need support. We need to be able to live and work.
Huge dredges traveled along the waterways in the Tulare Lake bed. Those dredges use giant clamshell scoops to lift earth and pile it up and make these huge levees. So all of the soil on these massive levees once was the soil at the bottom of the Tulare Lake bed. The lake bed now is a network of 90-degree angle north, south, east, west roads and canals that are designed to irrigate this part of the Tulare Lake bed. What we still need to work on is coming up with solutions for what's going on with the water below our feet. We cannot continue to take water from the underground faster than it's put back again. We were sort of borrowing from nature for a very long time. And it's like the debt collector is here.
You just mentioned that the number of people somehow trying to make movies. This is my question. How do you get the ideas of your movie, your documentary?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, because sometimes I'll have the idea. I'll have an idea for some reason, and then I will try to make the movie. And so for here, you would try to raise money. It could be a lot of different sources. It could be government, it could be individuals, it could be private people. Sometimes I get attached to a film because the film is already happening. And so I will join in the effort. That's happened. So sometimes I have the ideas, sometimes the ideas come to me, and sometimes it's working in collaboration with other people.
They used to have quilting parties, and the ladies in the group, they would all get together and they would piece the top, then they would quilt them. And I've seen these from other communities. They would sign it.
At this edge is Mr. J.W. Beaver, my great-grandfather. And right here is Mrs. Kate Beaver, and that is my great-grandmother. They were married. and they became a part of this community at the time this quilt was made in the early 1870s.
Yuri is trying to explain to me what kind of places Nikolai meant. Actually, it was kind of construction site with a lot of leftover rubbish after construction, which is normally checked for radiation or some chemicals, things like this. So that's why people were very felt under pressure. They were very tense because they were probably scared if they could find something or whatever. And this turns out to be one of the real big problems because people don't react positively to cameras. People with cameras.
Yeah. I sometimes feel, I don't know how well known he was, but the filmmaker Peter Watkins, British filmmaker Peter Watkins, and he was one of my model people for making films, Peter Watkins. He made a film somewhere in the 1960s for the BBC, and the film was to show the actual effects of a nuclear weapon if there was an attack on Great Britain. And the film was then banned for the next 40 years. And so where I'm going with this is I do feel to a certain degree that I should be making films that almost cannot be made.
On August 9th, 1945, 3 days after the destruction of Hiroshima, a B-29 bomber under the command of the United States Army Air Forces also destroyed the city of Nagasaki. On the ground beneath the atomic
We have to figure out how to make the films,
were hot enough to melt
but
concrete and
for
steel.
me, being
Within
willing
seconds,
to
more than 70,000
push
people had
the
been
limits
killed,
a little
and
bit.
another 100,000.
That's my
deadly
idealism.
injured. On the surface, Nagasaki today looks normal. Yet hidden from the casual visitor in hospitals and homes, the atomic bomb continues to claim its final victims.
But I also wanted to say, I don't think every film has to be like that. Film should also give us pleasure. Film should be fun. There should be comedies. I'm just saying that that's one element that I think about my hero, Peter Watkins. But films should do, I sometimes say, films get to do this much. The world is like this. They should be about everything. And we should have fun also. That's important. We should be able to laugh at the movies.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
Zero waste is a goal, it's a direction. And that's the direction we're taking this event. We're not actually going to get zero trash, zero landfill waste today, but we're hoping to get over 90% diversion at least.
Where do cardboard cups go?
Cardboard cups and compost. These we can recycle. That can be recycled? This one can in San Francisco. All right. It gets really confusing when you have an event and you have people coming from all over to one place and then they don't know what goes where because it's different from their own county. Yeah. There are just so many little things, you know, you're like, where does gum go?
What do we call it? Like education, edutainment. Educational entertainment, edutainment.
Christopher, I wanted just to, I'm observing one thing, the English language allows people to do so many interesting words, to create words, to combine. In Russian, I believe it's not quite the same, so it's different, yeah, but I'm always amused and I'm admire this ability of the English language to produce new words and to express the momentum and the, like, everything. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah, I'm always surprised too. I wish I knew more about Russian so I could speak with knowledge. But no, in English, people will say almost anything, and you're like, what does that mean? I wanted to say one more thing about this idea of the movies and Peter Watkins and comedy. The thing that I like most is when my heart is touched.
Yuriko Hatanaka, like the others, is a child of the atomic bomb. All of them were officially recognized as being damaged by radiation before they were born. Yuriko is now 37 years old, with the mental capacity of a child of 2. Mrs. Hatanaka was 3 months pregnant with Yuriko when the bomb dropped a mile away. Mr. Hatanaka, a barber, happened to be away from Hiroshima that day. 6 months later, Yuriko was born, and 32 years later, her mother died of bone cancer, another official casualty of the bomb. Every year since 1945, several hundred people die from the long-term effects of the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima in seconds. For Yuriko, the effects will last her lifetime.
I was present at the meeting with ecologists, the supporters of ecological movement. Christopher, you presented your film, which is called In Rush for Zero. What is the exact name?
Chasing for
Racing to Zero. Racing to Zero. Not being able to speak Russian, still you managed to establish contact with the audience.
There were good translators.
What product is mostly processed in nature? Christopher, welcome back. So,
thank you.
Actually, Nikolai's question was, he asked you, what is recycled? What is being recycled in Russia best of all, or mostly?
In Russia?
People were trying to say paper, metal, something like this, and you said batteries. Why?
I said what?
And you said that batteries are mostly recycled.
Oh yes, yes. I have to remember this now.
He's loading this material.
It was so fascinating to travel. I traveled throughout Russia with the film Racing to Zero.
Christopher, the question still remains, and Nikolai has been curious for 8 years. Why batteries?
I don't know.
I was amazed that there was recycling, because I don't know, in Moscow. But at that time, it was only 1 day a week that you could recycle one place. And where I was in California, you could recycle everything. All the food, everything could be recycled. They had sometimes 4 different bins. So it was interesting just comparing the experience and talking to people, Greenpeace Russia, about what to do. And I'd even heard that the president of Russia had organized a recycling conference in Moscow about recycling large industrial equipment. I don't know if that's true, but I thought the two countries are working together. They're working better. That's what I thought when I was there. So that's what I heard.
Even now, if you come to Russia, you will see a jar full of batteries in some shops.
Uh-huh. I don't know why. I was told that you can turn batteries into fertilizer. There's something in the batteries that can be used as fertilizer, but it's so expensive to do. So in Santa Fe, there was one store you could take your old batteries and turn them in.
Only one?
One, and now they stopped. So I have a stack of old batteries because, we use them in the, there they are. So I have a huge collection.
They are poison for the environment, actually.
I don't think that it's possible to use batteries as a fertilizer. I don't think that
There was something, if you pulled them apart, there was something in there, not the whole battery, but if you pulled it apart. But
You would suggest that there are precious elements inside batteries.
I have no idea. It seems crazy to me. It does.
In your film, there was a statement that the recycling raised up to 70%. So what about the situation now? Did you manage to reach the zero waste? No.
No. The film was idealistic. The film was an ideal, and so plastic is the problem still. Oh, here's the thing. Here's one of these questions. When the Titanic sank, there's no plastic on the Titanic. There are no plastic artifacts. So someone said, why are there no plastic artifacts on the Titanic? And the answer is, there was no plastic in existence then. It's all been since then. No. So in the film, there were people who thought they could recycle a lot of plastic, but plastic, when it's recycled, the recycled plastic is less quality than new plastic. And every time you recycle it, this is my understanding, every time you recycle it, the quality gets worse and worse and worse. So it's not a solution. We don't have a solution. We have management, but no solution, I don't think.
What are you currently working on?
Oh, that's good. Well, I have several projects. I'm currently working with a producer-director, Anna Sofer, and I am working with her on a series of films about ancient cultures. Ancient cultures. And so one of them is here in New Mexico called the Chaco Civilization. C-H-A-C-O. And so it's examining ancient cultures to see how they looked at the cosmos, at the world, and to understand. So we're going Chaco Canyon, Palenque in Mexico, the Maya, Stonehenge, and then there's a group in along the Mississippi River called mound builders, and that's worth looking up because I didn't know anything about them, but they built what has been called the largest earthworks, built out of earth, that's ever been constructed on the planet. So it's how are these cultures similar, and how do we in this world, our contemporary world, connect with those ancient cultures?
Means that you should, outside America, outside the USA, travel to...
A great privilege. A great privilege. And I would also like to say there's two other projects that I have been thinking about too. I think I've mentioned some of these to Nikolai. One is the island of Hawaii. I was able to take the Racing to Zero to show in Hawaii, and I saw the volcano. And so I became intrigued by the idea of this was the birth of the world. lava coming out of the ocean. And I became intrigued by how do we go from lava coming out of the ocean to Hawaii? So the natural history, the people history, and so that was one idea.
Anytime that there's a diversity of plants, you generally have more microbial activity in the soil, because each of these plants, this broadleaf, this grass, and this tomato, all have different sets of microbes that prefer to live on their roots. As we take a piece of material, as food, and then we turn it into this. How does that happen?
Is there a documentary channel, a documentary TV channel in the US?
A documentary channel? There's many that show documentaries. Many channels, National Geographic, Discovery. There's many. Our public broadcasting. Also, I'm a big follower of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. I think YouTube is a fantastic invention. Wonderful. So there's a lot of opportunity to see them.
But these channels make films themselves, or sometimes they can to take for another films.
Yeah, some make their own films. There is some possibility of having films shown on our public television. I have had films shown on our public television. They do not pay money. The public television does not pay money, ever. I mean, they might for a few people. Yeah, but yes, there's possibility. And so when we were talking earlier about the difficulty of making films, I think one of the things the most important for me is to allow myself to think big, to allow my thoughts to be free, and to think, well, I could show something on TV, or I could win an Academy Award, you know. And so I think some of it is the difficulty. I don't want to sound too pretentious, but it's trying to free the thoughts, free one's mind, to be able to dream big. I think that's important. And there's just enough opportunity here so you can dream big. You can have a large audience. A series? Like a series. Yes, a series. A series, yes.
Yes, it's a TV series.
Yes, okay. It took me a minute. Well, so thank you for asking, because I made 4 films about water in California. I love the idea of a series. You can spread out. You don't have to explain everything in one film. And I like the idea of the series, and so I tried to make the 4 films. San Joaquin is number 1, and then there were 3 others. I love that idea. I had great fun doing that.
I started about 19 years ago.
Really great fun.
We too seldom think about how much water is under our feet.
And the San Joaquin film, a lot of people have watched. So, but I love that idea. I wish we could do more. I think it's a great idea. Really great.
The TV series now is very popular, and the action takes place in Albuquerque. So the whole world is watching the series and knows everything about Albuquerque and Santa Fe.
About Santa Fe? Mm-hmm. What's the series?
I have not watched.
Well, actually,
maybe
I can give a few.
An expert.
A few details. One of my favorite series is Better Call Saul. It's about 2 lawyers. They live in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and they work together on different cases. And the most recent TV show is Pluribus by Vince Gilligan, and Pluribus, one of many, and it takes place, and it's set in Albuquerque. Yeah.
Yes. So Breaking Bad
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Breaking Bad. All right.
Best of the best.
Breaking Bad.
Of all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not. What does he say? I'm not the. I'm not worried about. I'm not the fear. I am the fear. Breaking Bad. The guy says, "It's me. It's not them. It's me." And then Pluribus. Yeah. And Pluribus. I've been watching Pluribus. I love seeing the films that are done here. There's so many that are filmed in New Mexico. No Country for Old Men. I don't know what that would have been, but No Country for Old Men was good. That's New Mexico. We see films that are supposed to be in other parts of the United States, but I can tell they're filmed here. I know the countryside. But yes, Breaking Bad, Pluribus, yeah.
Have you seen the Goliath serial? Why I'm asking, because they have one season dedicated to the problem of
the water in California
in California Valley,
yeah.
And one person, the lawyer, trying to investigate the situation with distribution of water in the California Valley. So it looks like very familiar, very same as the problem you mentioned.
San Joaquin River
in
movie, film. Sorry.
San Joaquin.
Yes, water is the underlying reality.
The top of that white line is where the water was. Where the white is was all underwater. This is a reservoir. This isn't a natural lake. Where we're standing right now was completely underwater.
This is the mighty San Joaquin, and when we used to do this in canoes, this was probably 10 feet deep. And I look at this and it's unbelievable. We'd be in water now. Just bank-to-bank water.
When I made the San Joaquin film, I learned so much. I felt for a moment I could see into the future. I could see what was going to happen with water, and I see it here. And I'm curious about what it's like. I'm curious about where each of you lives. Where does the water come from? How much water is there? I'm very curious about it. And it's a very big problem. We have a very big problem here that very few people realize. They don't understand what's going on, I think. It's already happening in some places, yes. It's like the film Chinatown, the Jack Nicholson Chinatown. That's what's, and that will be. It's happening. Some places there is armed conflict in India.
It is worth being admired that your film has more than 2,800 viewings.
Views.
Some of the films, people watch thousands and thousands of people, and then other ones no. I truly don't understand it. But thank you. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. One of the short films was about the valley in California. There's no rocks in the valley.
From somewhere else. Rock is not native to this San Joaquin Valley. Anytime you find a rock or anything like that, you know it's been brought in. Yeah, this is the example of a groundstone piece of milling equipment. You can see where it's been rubbed here. So this will be a muller or some sort of a rubbing device for grinding seeds.
In the Nagasaki film, 48. So I don't understand it. But yes, no, it's great to have people see them. But I don't understand why this one and not that one.
The thing is that we met you on the, me, for example. We met for the first time together.
No.
But you can film about Zagorinsky and and the film about documentary film and the
Cinemaholics.
film lovers. The video about film lovers.
Cinemaholics. So called.
So you know people here.
Oh, yes.
The miracle you agreed to meet.
To meet people in person after you have seen what you have seen.
And for this, we ask you to forgive us. We ask you, please forgive us for everything.
No, I have to tell you.
You agreed to spend an hour with us, which proves that we are not completely insane.
Well, you're kind of insane. You're a little insane. But I have to tell you, Cinemaholics, this is what I felt. I felt Cinemaholics is the beginning of a series. I felt it. It could be. I don't want to push, but I felt like, what a great idea. It is a great idea. And it's a wonderful way to see people and to see where you live. But the Cinemaholics, I'm ready for Cinemaholics too.
What about Zagarinsky?
Zagarinsky.
Yula was the cameraman in the film about Zagarinsky.
Oh, it's another. This is a fine film, and it had both formal elements, so beautiful compositions, but also the documentary. It had the documentary. It had both. It was fantastic. It's very difficult to get films seen here in film festivals, but we tried. But I think it's a wonderful film. And here we get to see so few films about Russia. And so I felt like the opening of Zagarinsky, where we see what Moscow looks like, it was like, wow.
Moscow is one of the biggest cultural centers.
It's not just, a politician with a wall behind them, These are people. And the music is fantastic. So, yes, I almost can't say enough. I like that so much. It's so beautiful. I love the dacha. I love the scenes in the dacha, too. I love that. The intimacy, the friendship. And when I was in Russia before, I got to go visit somebody in a dacha, and so it brought back all of those memories. But I love those scenes. So all the different, and one more thing. So I loved even seeing Zagarinsky when he has to carry his own cello. He has to do his own. There's no huge entourage, and he's a world performer.
More than an hour. It's been more than an hour, Christopher. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I thank you. I feel like when I was in school and I would do a presentation in front of the class and everyone looks at me, but I also felt this, hearing your questions and being able to see you, I feel like we shared. I wish we could do the interview with each one of you the same way. It's been a really wonderful experience for me. And now I'm going to go outside and walk by the river and just enjoy the feeling and the memory. Yes, so thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher.